30 laborers, each working 6 hours a day, can complete a construction in 20 days. How many days could 20 laborers, each working 10 hours a day, take to complete the same construction? Now, for me to work out this question, I like starting with a table which will help me track these quantities. So 30 laborers, I will write 30 here, each working 6 hours a day, so I write 6 hours a day down here, can complete a construction in 20 days, so I write 20 days here. How many days would 20 laborers, so I write 20 laborers here, each working 10 hours a day, so I write 10 hours a day here, take to complete the same construction? So how many of these? That's the question. You see, I've written the information pertaining to laborers here, hours a day, and this meant for days. And the first thing we do in our effort to calculate the answer, we come up with ratios using these two quantities, the ones which are given on both sides, and we relate them to get the corresponding ratios for the number of days. Starting with the laborers, we have 30 laborers initially. We have now reduced them to 20. If you reduce the number of laborers from 30 to 20, then it means they will take longer duration to do that same piece of work. So in terms of ratio, we shall say the number of laborers decrease because we have reduced them from 30 to 20. It means the number of laborers have reduced or decreased in the ratio. When we are writing this ratio here, we write the new value to ratio the old value. So it's 20 to ratio 30. Now, if we reduce the number of laborers, as I said initially, it means the number of days that they will be working will be more. So that means in ratio form, the number of days worked will increase. They will increase in the ratio. Now, because this is a decrease, which has resulted in an increase, it's like this is the opposite of this. Then we have to interchange these ratio values. So it will be ratio 30 to ratio 20. So if we reduce the number of laborers, the number of days will increase by the same ratio, but you will pass the values. Now we come to hours a day. Initially we had 6, now we are having 10 hours a day. If you increase the number of hours you are working, then it means the number of days you will work will reduce. So in terms of a ratio, we realize we have 6 hours here. We are now working for 10 hours. That means the number of hours have increased, and therefore in ratio form we shall say the number of hours increase in the ratio, the new figure, it is 10 to ratio the old number of hours, which is 6. So that means it will result in the number of hours and the number of days worked being less because we are spending more hours working. So that means the number of days must decrease in the ratio to interchange this figure. So it will be 6 to ratio 10. We are interchanging the figures because this one works in opposite direction to this one. This was an increase. It has resulted in a decrease. Now, having used these two quantities and gotten the corresponding ratio for days, we shall now work the actual number of days as number of days taken will be equal to this one in a fraction form, which is always given by the first ratio over the second ratio. So it will be 30 over 20 times this one in a fraction form. You write the first ratio over the second one always, so that will be 6 over 10, then times the number of days we have here, which is 20. If you work out that, you will get 18 days. Now, second question, 10 laborers, each working 5 hours a day, can complete a construction in 20 days. How many days would 25 laborers, each working 8 hours a day, take to complete the same construction? You realize the question is almost similar, but the figures have changed and therefore the work need change. So let's start with the table I said. So we have 10 laborers. I'll write 10 laborers here, each working 5 hours a day. I write 5 hours a day here, and complete a construction in 20 days. So I write 20 days here. How many days would 25 laborers, so I write 25 laborers here, each working 8 hours a day, write 8 hours a day here, take to complete the same construction? So this is what we are looking for. Let's come up with a ratio using this. We realize we had 10 laborers initially, we are now having 25. So it's the number of laborers has increased. So for us to come with a ratio, we shall come up with a ratio saying that the number of laborers increase, because we realize this a change from 10 to 25, representing an increase in the ratio. The new number of laborers, which is 25, to ratio the old one is 10. So if you increase the number of laborers, it means they will work for lesser number of days. The number of days they will work will reduce. So in ratio form, we shall say the number of days must decrease or reduce in the ratio. Interchange these figures. So it will be 10 to ratio 25. We interchange these ratios once we realize this one and this one are not the same. One is an increase, another one is a decrease. Then let's come to the second one. We initially were working for 5 hours a day. We are now working 8 hours a day. The number of hours we are working has increased. So in a ratio form, we shall say the number of hours increase in the ratio new number of hours, which is 8, ratio the old one, which is 5. If you increase the number of hours you are working in a day, then it means the number of days you will work will reduce. So we shall have it in a ratio form as number of days must reduce or decrease. Now that they are decreasing and this was an increase, the ratio will have to be found by interchanging these numbers. So we shall have 5 to ratio 8. We have come up with two ratios using these two quantities. So we shall now get the actual number of days as being equal to, type this one in a fraction form. As I said, it is the first ratio over the second ratio, that's 10 over 25, times 5 over 8 times the number of days, which is 20. If you work out that, you get the answer being 5 days. Thank you.